right. Stephen, thank you for joining me today. I know you took a lot of time out of your busy work schedule to come over here and listen to my Take Action project. Just for a quick lowdown, I know I sent you the email about it. Essentially, at the end of our project, or our class in our business writing and presenting course, we have to take action on something we feel that we could make an impact in our community by pitching to the community, or a subsection of wherever within the PSU area, about how we think we could improve that said community. And my pitch, quite frankly, is how can we expand the knowledge base of the student worker force within the PSU, while also not spending a bunch of money. So let's get after it. PSU's IT system is very compartmentalized. I'm sure there's a very good reason for that. From a student worker's perspective, we have very limited exposure to other aspects of the university's IT infrastructure, networking, cybersecurity, LST, etc. In doing so, it creates natural knowledge gaps within the how things operate, and leaves a lot of questions than answers, and can make it sometimes difficult to attempt to troubleshoot certain issues outside of the scope of normal operations. It'll actually come up in a later slide. My concern here is that this creates a stronger dependence on shift supervisors for assisting with resolving more complex, out of the norm issues. And just to take something that I learned a lot, was rather hammered home quite frequently when I was in the military, was you always want to solve problems at the lowest level. And in order to empower student workers to do that, my proposal is to basically set up like a job shadow program. So this is very flexible, and it's certainly open to scrutiny and adjustments, but my idea is to allow student workers to shadow other IT departments, maybe somewhere around 2 to 4 hours per month, in short, structured micro rotations via networking, cybersecurity, LSD, desktop support, you name it. Any department that's willing to take part in this program, I'd be more than happy to reach out and see if we could figure something out, just to give students the opportunity to educate themselves and see what on-the-job experience and hands-on experience actually looks like. Students will be provided the opportunity to observe workflows, tools, troubleshooting approaches. Over time, the knowledge gained will bolster students' understandings of how the university's IT infrastructure functions. This in turn will make students more reliable assets as employees. This knowledge can then be brought back to the IT help desk for everyone's benefit. So the first thing I said about my previous military experience is you always want to solve problems at the lowest level. Whenever a leader went to a course, or a soldier, say they went to Ranger School or RSLIC, they always brought that knowledge back to the company, and so they could share it and teach classes on what they learned there, to basically for the betterment of everyone else, and in doing so they became what we called a force multiplier. Help desk benefits. Developed understanding of the root causes for IT issues outside the scope of normal operations. I had mentioned that previously. Reduction in ticket escalation. Again, solving problems at the lowest level. We're not throwing these tickets necessarily at these other departments if we can solve them at our level. And I want to be able to increase that as much as possible. Increased confidence for student workers handling more obscure, complex tickets. Improved communication between departments, and naturally build a more professional, knowledgeable student workforce. Student university benefits. Hands-on exposure to a variety of aspects within information technology. Bolsters resumes and strengthens job readiness for students interested in pursuing IT as a career. Identifies interest areas for students still on the fence about what they want to do post-graduation if they're already interested in IT. It gives them that sort of flexibility to see what networking is like, or cybersecurity. Sorry to keep using those as examples, but those are two very obviously popular components of a lot of IT careers. Encourages collaboration and cross-team relationships across departments, supports more unified IT department culture. Implementation. Management approval and selection of participating departments. Departments will then choose which shadowing activities will be accessible for student workers. Obviously not everything is, so we have to be very careful about what is and what isn't. That student workers A, it's within the scope of their ability to actually accomplish, and B, is something that will be beneficial to the university by and large, or these departments, because part of it is allowing the students to be able to be an asset to that department, to assist them and take the load off their shoulders, while also learning in the process of how that department functions in the best way possible. Students will sign up voluntarily. Accountability, so this is a really key point, just to make sure that everything's running as effectively and efficiently as possible, is students will report back key takeaways to their supervisor about the experience they've learned. So you go, to your shadowing opportunity once a month, and I would report back to Sam saying, hey, these are some bulleted points of like, hey, this is some useful information that I picked up that I didn't know previously. And over time, that can be compiled into a notebook or a Word document, and that can become that outside knowledge that we've been able to pull back to the IT help desk and be like, oh, this is a problem that we've encountered in the past. I learned how to solve it. Here it is, and then that can be used as a reference point for other student workers. Again, bringing that knowledge back to the IT help desk to just for everyone's benefit. Potential drawbacks, because not everything's perfect, and this does require a lot of management oversight and some, heavy lifting on, the employee side of things. So scheduling conflicts between departments or overscheduling. To set up this program, it would require brief time investments from full-time staff to coordinate everything. Potentially pulling students from their primary responsibilities as help desk personnel. Your immediate job is to work at the help desk, and if there's not enough people to do that, that creates inefficiencies. Shadowing activities must be structured to avoid creating inefficiencies. So to avoid just having a student go out and just kind of do nothing and twiddle their thumbs, there should be set activities that they can accomplish that, again, not to sound repetitive, but allow them to learn and gain knowledge within that IT department, but also assist the department with whatever work that they need to accomplish for that day. Not all departments may be willing to participate. Students' access to various systems is limited for security purposes. I can see this for networking, again, and cybersecurity, where they're just things that students shouldn't have access to because it's very sensitive information. And it's limited to full-time employees here. Mitigation strategies. So schedule rotations around historically low volume help desk hours. That'll help them pulling students away from their responsibilities and make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. Initial program coordination efforts should be standardized and repeatable, so that upfront work that needs to be done should only be done once, and then should be enacted upon every period afterwards, so that just to make things easier. Pilot the program with just a few departments. Start at a very small scale, then expand over time if successful. If not, go back to the drawing board, see what worked, what didn't, and try to readjust. Continuously gather feedback, and again, adjust course if necessary. And then I'll leave you with this. My call to action is a quote from John Dewey, the father of progressive education. Give the students something to do, not something to learn, and the doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking. Learning naturally results. Thank you for my TED Talk. And do we have any further questions? Actually, I guess I'll record that as well. Nope. All right, wonderful.